Just a reminder, we have microphone holders. If you'd like to ask a question, please try to grab their attention and we'll deliver the microphone to you. And also, please state your name and affiliation before you ask a question. Coach, some opening remarks and then we'll take questions.
Well, I think you heard a lot of remarks out there, and I'm just, again, very humbled and grateful to be here, living another dream of mine to represent this amazing athletics department and this amazing state, and a place that just means so much to me and my family. So just really excited to get going and get in the gym for our first practices and get to know this team.
Suits with Channel 1011. Dani, welcome home.
Thanks.
How do you wrap your mind around everything that's transpired over the past week, and then even being welcomed here to the Devaney Center as Nebraska's head volleyball coach?
Yeah, it's pretty tough to wrap your mind around it. And like I said, looking at this stage, I was like, this is crazy. This is a bit much. And but at the same time, just it's an honor to be part of a place that cares so much about the sport of volleyball and continues to push the limits and shows everybody what can be done and that it works and people care. So again, really grateful, and just having John Cook around and being so supportive. It's meant so much and given me a lot of confidence, and just has made this transition seamless and exciting and not nerve-wracking or scary. So.
Coach Jake Bartecki out of News Channel Nebraska in Beatrice. First off, welcome home.
Thank you.
I got to ask, there's a lot of good things going on with Gage County right now in the sports world. You got Cam Jurgens in the Super Bowl Sunday, and now you're the coach here at Nebraska. What is it about that area that's led to so much recent success, and what is it about the Freeman community that means so much to you?
I couldn't tell you what's led to all the success in Gage County. That's pretty funny, but I feel like the people in Nebraska in general, in Southeast Nebraska, they love sports, and everybody does everything. It's a mixture of tons of small towns, and so I think there's a lot to be learned from that. And having Freeman here today is pretty amazing. It's funny, I was joking. They got out of school at noon, so of course they're all going to come. If they came, they got an excused absence. But just to see the support out there and hearing them cheer, and to know that they'll always support one of their own was a very, very neat moment.
Amy Jess, Lincoln Journal-Star, you touched on this, but when did it sink in for you that you're the head coach at Nebraska, and what are those emotions, and what has that felt like?
It's interesting because I hadn't been super emotional, or I don't know if it really has sunk in the last week that I was actually the head coach here. It's just like I'm so familiar with Lincoln and the athletic department. Troy was joking, like I'm more familiar with the people here than he is, some of them. So a lot of people are the same. Until honestly today, when I'm getting ready for this and typing up some remarks, I'm like, wow, I'm actually doing this. Like we're gonna do this, and just seeing the support and the excitement, I think that's when it really hit me that this is happening.
Dani, Lincoln Arneal with Huskers Illustrated. You came to town a couple weeks ago to watch that love match. Was that a pre-planned trip, and when did you realize that trip led to other conversations and more was at foot that weekend?
Yeah, I wouldn't say it was really pre-planned because, I have two former players playing for the Madison team, and there was a schedule change, and the original game I was going to go watch them wasn't going to work out. And so it was like, this is the perfect time to go home and also see them. And it was kind of before the big recruiting rush. But it also was a little bit of fate, when I started talking to John, and he's like, oh, if you're coming in town, let's meet with Troy. And I was like, really? And so that's when I knew that John was getting more serious about retiring, that if he was going to go to that length, I knew it was getting serious.
Hi, Dani. Andy Kendi with KETV. So just take us through. So you meet with Troy, and then how quickly does this happen? And obviously, because of you wanting to be here, it probably ruins the negotiation. Can really drive a hard bargain.
True, but no, it was pretty quick, and I think John had a lot to do with that. Just his support and him, really feeling confident that I could do it, and I think he talked to Troy a lot more than I did about it, and but it was pretty quick. We met on Saturday or Sunday, I don't even know what day, and then I think a few days later, Troy was like, "So, do you want to be the next coach here?" I was like, "Well, yeah." I was actually in practice, and I stepped out to take the phone call, and that's when the ball really started rolling.
That's great. And a follow-up here. Obviously, expectations are sky high
Yes.
here. What are your expectations leading this program?
The expectations aren't changing. Our expectations is to be in the hunt to win the Big Ten and to be in Final Fours and winning national championships, But I also, want our players to leave here just loving the sport of volleyball and loving the game and, be dying to play pro or coach or give back and have this feeling of that they're not burnt out. And so I think that the expectation is for these players to have an amazing experience, and usually that leads to success.
Abby Barmer with Husker Online. Obviously, a big key to this is that John is retiring. What was your reaction when he told you he was going to retire, and just how important has his impact been on your career as a player, now coach?
I knew he was always thinking about retiring, but in the back of my head, I was like, I don't know if he'll ever actually pull the trigger, because he has such a great team, and he says a lot. Like, this is the most fun I've ever had coaching. So for him to walk away now, I think said a lot about, his family. Like, he cares about his family. He wants to spend more time with them, and the fact that he's confident and satisfied with what he's done, that he can walk away, and also the fact that he's going to still be a big part of this program and helping me, especially through this first season. I forgot the second part of your question. What's he meant? Okay. Yeah, just incredible impact. And, I've been calling John for advice since my very first job at Tennessee, and he's helped me through a lot of issues, at previous institutions or times when I didn't know what to do, and being able to have somebody like him to lean on, who's literally been through it all, I feel like, and been successful through it all, was just always really comforting. And again, for him to really put a stamp of approval on me just meant a lot. We had a lot of interesting times throughout our relationship, which we'll get to those someday, little by little, but sometimes I'm surprised he didn't kick me off the team, but he always supported me, and this is just another step of that.
Hi, Dani. Lauren Michelson, KTV in Omaha. Obviously, I don't have to be the one to tell you you're taking over an outstanding team, but what's your message been to this group of young women throughout this transition?
Well, I haven't had a ton of time to spend with them, unfortunately, just with, I came here to meet with them briefly last week, and then I had a family vacation planned right after that I really felt like I needed to go on before all this started. So I haven't had a ton of time, but mainly it's just, again, what I said out there, that the values are going to stay the same, but there's going to be some different things that we do, and I'm excited to give them a little bit of change while also keeping so many things the same, because there's so many amazing things that have worked for so long. But to put a little spin on it will be a lot of fun.
Brent Wagner from the Lincoln Journal. Dani, what feels so unique about this for a first year as far as the potential to have returning players and returning staff?
Yeah, it really makes it like easier, for lack of a better word, on the head coach, because you have the staff in place. So immediately I can start right into the team and recruiting, and that's been a philosophy of mine. Is those two things always come first, the team and recruiting. So I don't have to worry about little things here and there, because I know the staff is taking care of that, and they're ready to work, and they want this team to be successful, no matter if it was John or myself as the head coach. And then just having the team coming back and being so supportive, and getting text messages and just seeing them, and I can feel their smiles and excitement, and I know they're going to be ready to work and really enjoy a little bit of change.
Hi, Coach. Erin Sorensen with Counter Read. we talk a lot about how Nebraska is the epicenter of volleyball, not just at the collegiate level, but at the club level, pretty much every level, even now professionally. And for you being the first woman to lead this Nebraska volleyball team, what do you hope that can show all of the women across the state as far as what's possible for them and maybe those little girls that are sitting in that crowd right now?
Yeah, what's amazing about our sport is the ball has already been rolling. You know, this year we had the first woman to win a national championship, and now you're seeing more women take over these historic programs and, you know, getting a chance to lead and to show that we can do it. And for me, it's more than just being a woman. It's just about, you know, we can be really successful and competitive, but we can also have great family lives and great lives outside of our sport. And I'm hoping to model that to them, that you really can do it all.
Hi, Coach. Adam Kruger with CBS in Omaha. When it comes to that 06 meeting with John, you know, it's been beaten to death. But what's the main lesson you took from that you hope can still apply to today's generation?
You know, number one, you know, the young athletes, when they're playing on their club teams and playing on their high school teams, to not just be obsessed with playing one certain position and to be open to trying different things. You want to be the most well-rounded athlete you possibly can be. And then number two is, no, the team comes first, and the best teams and the teams that are winning national championships, you know, they have a selflessness about them that other teams don't, and that's why they're there at the end. And so you never know what's going to be asked of you, so you got to be ready for it and embrace it. And you picked the sport of volleyball, so you got to do what you can to give your team the best chance to win.
And a follow-up, compared to Louisville, Nebraska does have higher expectations. Native sons, native daughters have come back, and it's been a mixed bag of goods. Did that make you hesitant at all to come back?
No, you know, if you start playing the compare game, that's never going to work. And, you know, this is different. I spent a lot of time away from Nebraska. It wasn't just a couple seasons that were magical. It was a long time, and I learned a lot, and that's what prepared me to come back and feel confident. Plus, this team is not or this program is not a case where somebody got fired or somebody is leaving in a bad place. This is a program that's getting left in an amazing position. And so no hesitation in that way.
Dani, Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Personally for you, having taken Louisville to 2 national championship matches and having a growing family, where were you at within the window of opportunity where the timing worked for you?
You know, the timing is always hard, like leaving a place that you love. So I love Louisville. It's an amazing place to live and raise a family, and amazing athletic department. So I wouldn't say the timing is ever perfect, but for me to be able to come home with a baby on the way, with all of our family here, and not going to lie, my husband might have been freaking out a little bit thinking about 2 young kids without any help. So it was, you know, a little bit of God's timing that this is what our family needed at this time.
Dani, Lincoln Arneal again. You kind of, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but in your last contract you negotiated with Louisville, you put in a buyout clause with exception for Nebraska too. Is that kind of a red flag saying, hey, I'm interested, remember me over here? Or what was the rationale behind putting that clause in with Nebraska and their contract?
I think that was more discussions with Josh, the AD at Louisville, and you know, and I wanted to make sure that I did not take Nebraska off the list of my opportunities, but I also knew that I wanted to be true to Louisville, but unless something at Nebraska came up, and I think Josh did the right thing, and he talked about a lot of the right thing to do, to almost like a reward. We're gonna honor, or we're gonna give you this great contract, but we understand that Nebraska is a special place to you, and we don't want to close any doors for you.
Hey, Coach, Nate Johnson with Channel 8 News. Thinking about kind of Coach Cook this past season, kind of dipping into the social media field a little bit. How do you balance, you know, being a coach, being a mentor, a motherly figure, kind of all in one a little bit?
I'm still figuring that out. So I have not learned the right way to balance it all. And I think it's just a lot of, you got to say no sometimes, and then you got to pick and choose what's important to you. But again, I'm figuring that out, learning on the way. And what's amazing about having great staff is it allows you to do that, and a team that understands. And I told the team on day one, like, I'm really transparent. And for that, I think that builds a lot of trust. And so they're going to know what I'm missing for. I'm not afraid to tell them, like, I'm going on a vacation. Like, that's okay, So I think that transparency really helps give you the confidence to be able to do things that are balanced life outside of volleyball.
Jacob Badil with Hale Varsity. Can you kind of walk us through the process of getting Jalen and Kelly and Lindsay back on board, your connections with them, and then maybe the next steps in terms of potentially filling out your coaching staff?
I think Jalen, Kelly, and Lindsay, they love Nebraska. And, I think they, again, want to see this team accomplish goals that they've set, years ago. And I've known all of them. Lindsay was actually a volunteer coach when I was a player, and then she was the director of ops when I coached here. Kelly I coached for most of her career, I think all but 1 year. And then Jalen and I have gotten to know each other really well, just out recruiting and working USA camps. So I knew that it would be a good fit to keep everybody together. And I think John also helps that too, letting them know that he believes it would be a good fit. So it really wasn't much convincing. As far as the next staff member, I'm going to take my time. There's some amazing people in this program already that have put in some work that could potentially fill that. But I've gotten the green light from Troy if there's, if we want to make a change or add a staff member, that we'll do that. But I'm not in a hurry to do that.
Amy, just again, with it being National Girls and Women in Sports Day yesterday, what would you tell 9, 10-year-old Dani about just how things have gone and where you're continuing to head?
I would tell 10-year-old Dani to always dream big and not give up, and make sure that you are prepared, or that you can handle the good and the bad times, and also to remind her that in sports there's a lot of high highs and a lot of low lows, but at the end of the day, this is a game that brings so many people joy and love, and it can unite people. It's such an amazing opportunity to be a big part in the sports world.
Kevin Suits again, Dani. John, when he announced his retirement last week, he said something about the new challenges in volleyball are for you to figure out. What are they?
I just think the changing landscape of college athletics in general, don't think you can pinpoint one thing. It's just like there's something new. There's new rules changing. There's transfer portal. There's NIL. There's rev share. And literally you'll get an update every day that it changed. So I think it's just keeping up with the changes and being able to navigate those. That's why being at a place like Nebraska is really, if it's an advantage, because I think we're always one step ahead and thinking about all these changes, what could happen next.
Brent Wagner again. What ways do you hope that you and the program can honor John Cook and what he's built as you go forward now?
I think the best way to honor what John's built is to continue to show the product on the court. So win games, win championships, and, play with joy. And I know there's going to be some really fun things planned this fall to honor John. And, we're going to be the proudest parts of those plans. But number one will be winning. And I know he would have loved to go out with the national championship, but I also know that he will be just as happy watching this team win one in December if it comes to that.
All right, we will conclude there, and we'll bring up the players next. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks.
left, we have Andy Jackson, Bergen Riley, Harper Murray, and Rebecca Alec. Questions for the student athletes?
Amy Just, Lincoln Journal-Star. For any and all of you, just what was your reaction last week to the news of John retiring and Dani being your coach?
I can go. I mean, I think it was all of the emotions. I mean, we found out within a span of 2 minutes that Coach was leaving and Dani was coming, and so it was a lot of sadness that Coach was leaving, but also just appreciation for what he has done for our time with him. And then 30 seconds later, we found out we have Dani, and that, I mean, I think we all knew that that was just the perfect fit, and so we were super excited right off the bat, but it was tough. It was feeling a roller coaster of emotions in a short period of time, but now that we're here and we have Dani here, I think it's just a lot of joy and excitement for the future.
Lincoln Arnold, Huskers Illustrated. Andy, John talked about that the team kind of went back away for 5 minutes. What was those discussions like, and what happened during that time frame?
Yeah, so after Coach told us, obviously we all did our thing. We talked to him for a little bit. Troy talked, and then we all just consecutively agreed, like, let's just go take 5 minutes. And when we went into our locker room, we just talked about, this is, like Bergen said, a roller coaster of emotions, but we're going to get through this together, and how do we support Dani in the way that she needs to be supported? And it's going to be all 13 of us and our support staff and Dani all together. And so we just wanted to really make sure that we were all on the same page, and we were going to do what it took to support Dani and support each other during this big shift.
Rebecca, native Nebraskan, to have one of Nebraska's own come back, lead the program. Well, first off, what do you know about Dani when you were growing up, and what does it mean to have a native Nebraskan leading this program?
Yeah, so okay, I'll just get I don't know this is. But she actually recruited my older sister. She was in my house at one point, but I was nothing but in middle school, so I was kind of oblivious to it all. And I also ran into her at a libero camp. She stopped me. She goes, "What are you doing at a libero camp?" And I was like, "I don't know. I want to learn how to play volleyball." And so, it was a familiar face, and all I ever heard was great things from her. So that's what I know about her. And just also, it piqued my interest before I ever even thought of John leaving, was that I heard Dani Busboom, coach of Louisville, mentioned in there that Nebraska head volleyball coach position opens up. She's going. I thought that was interesting as I was going into my junior year. I was like, huh. And now here we are. And I mentioned that in our meeting when she called it just for us, that, to be upfront with the team that you're currently coaching, that there is another team that still has your heart, speaks volumes about her commitment to Nebraska even after she left. And, for me, change is hard. It's really hard. I loved everything John Cook stood for because he's very traditional. I mean, we still tuck our jerseys in. We're not changing the design anytime soon. I mean, I don't know if Dani has other ideas. But, there was tradition. And I was scared because it's like, at first it was, guys, I'm retiring, I'm leaving. And then shortly Dani was coming, and there was this relief. And she even called us that same day. And I told her, I'm like, I'm happy it's you. It was a relief, and it feels good to know that she's been through a weird change while she was in college for John Cook, so she understands that. She's played here, she's from here, and I truly believe that we're in really good hands.
Abby Barmer with Husker Online. Bergen, you mentioned that Dani was the perfect fit here. Why?
Yeah, I think, like it's been mentioned, she's from here, she played here, she knows what it takes, and that's something that unless you've played at Nebraska, you don't really know it. And so she can coach with that in the back of her mind. And obviously she took Louisville from where it was however many years ago to national championships in a pretty short period of time. And so she has proven herself as a coach and just obviously as a player, as an athlete. She's just a Nebraskan, and you can tell. And I'm not a Nebraskan, but I can kind of pick them out, and you can tell that she's just a Nebraskan at heart. And like Becca said, she even cared about Nebraska while she was at other places, and that just shows a lot about how she's going to coach us and how she's going to care for us.
Harper, John talked about how he met with you before the rest of the team, and he said you were emotionally devastated. How long did it take for you to process this? Are you still assessing the change, and what's kind of your reaction, first impression of Dani?
Yeah, well, honestly, I can't lie. Like when he asked me to come meet, I was mad at him for making me come to the gym on my off day. And I sat in his office, and I had never seen the look on his face. I thought something bad had happened, and he had to be the one to tell me. And obviously, he ended up telling me that he was retiring, and I just burst out in tears. And he's done a lot for me, and I was in shock, but I think I process things pretty fast, and then I start to go into denial a little bit. And I called my mom after I met with him, and I just sat up in his office area for an hour until the team got to the gym, and we had to go meet with them. So I had a little bit of time to process, and it was really hard at first, and I was really upset for the 2 days after. But I mean, I trust Coach with Dani, and I believe that he's going to put us in the best position possible to win, even if he's not here. And I think that makes us all feel a little bit better that we trust him, and we know that he's not just going to hand us off to somebody he doesn't believe is going to set us up to be successful. And like Andy said, we talked in that meeting about how we're going to support Dani in the way that she needs, and we also talked about how we're going to respect her and respect Coach's decision and respect Dani because she's earned that respect the past 8 years at Louisville. So we're excited for Dani, obviously, but it's been a whirlwind of emotions, but we're excited, and it's awesome that we have Dani here.
It's a huge change, but some things aren't changing. Jalen and Kelly and Wish are coming back. What does that mean to you guys?
Jalen, Kelly, Wish, Nebraska Volleyball isn't Nebraska Volleyball without them. So I know we're super grateful that they're still with us, and obviously that is a testament to Dani and Coach's loyalty to our staff and to our program, and I know we're super lucky to still have them in general, whether it was Dani or Coach. Who else? The three of them under Coach and under Dani now are the best coaches in the country, and we're really lucky to have them on our staff. So I'm super grateful that they're staying, and I know the rest of the team is, but I think it just really goes to show how much loyalty Dani has to this program and how much trust she has in Coach for having them on staff and keeping them here.
Andy, what does it say about the team culture that no one's transferring? I mean, a lot of people leave programs, but all 13 members are out there, and all the commits are saying they're still coming here. What does it say about the culture of the program that no one's left?
I think it obviously shows that we have a very strong team culture, and it's something that our team really prides ourselves on, is having a good team culture. And I think it also just shows that we have that ultimate trust, and that's something that we always talk about, and it's something we work really, really hard to achieve. And like Harper said, we can trust Coach that he's going to leave us with the best fit possible, and obviously Dani is that for us, and so we trust him. All 13 of us do, and we know that she's going to take us to where we need to go and to win the Big Ten and win national championships. And so I think these past couple weeks have just really reflected our team culture and our culture as a program, because everyone has still held themselves to such a high standard, and we're continuing to do the exact same things that we've done in the past. And with all these big shifts, everyone stayed on their stuff and just stayed motivated, and we're still hungry, and we're really, really excited to work with Dani. And so I think that we've all reflected the program very well these past few weeks, and we're going to continue to do that.
Andy, Kendi, KETV, Rebecca, for you, kind of building on this, can something like this, obviously you've been through this off-season stuff before, but can something like this kind of reinvigorate you guys at this stage and kind of light even a bigger fire than you've already had?
Oh, absolutely. It's kind of hard to say that one extra thing is already going to ignite that fire again. Change is hard, but I thought it was kind of interesting that she mentioned she might change the practice plan, and I thought that was crazy, but I'm excited. It'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, it's just the passing of the torch. I think everyone in this room, and honestly Husker Nation, fully understands this type of shoes that she has to fill. And I don't know, I'm excited. It's kind of hard to put into words. To be honest, the seniors are still on my heart from last year. And as of right now, this is my senior year. So I've been having a fire, and I'm really excited to do it with you guys. And my mom loves Dani. My mom's pretty picky. So, yeah, I'm just excited. This is the year of hope, and I think big things are going to happen. Yeah.
Bergen, obviously you guys are going through a big transition, but you also have 5 freshmen coming in who were fully expecting to work with John Cook, and now they have a new head coach, and they're living in a different state, most of them. So have you guys kind of wrapped your arms around them?
Yeah, that was one of the things we mentioned right after Coach had told us, and we went into the locker room to talk was just, it was hard on the freshmen, and we understood that because they committed to coach and they thought they were coming here to play under coach, and he's a legend. Everyone would love to say that they played under him, and we understood that, and so we kind of just said that right away, and we said, like, we're here for you guys. You can come hang out at me in Harper's apartment. You can, like, whatever you guys need, we're here for you. Because I don't know, I remember my first couple weeks here, it was just a whirlwind. Like, you have meetings every day, you have to go to the doctor, get your physical, you have literally everything you could imagine. And they were starting to find a groove, and then this kind of happened, and so I think we all kind of understood that they were in a really tough place, and just wrapping our arms around them and telling them that we're going to get through it together. And they all immediately were just, again, committed to Dani, even though they were really upset. So just, again, shows the culture of our team and the kind of people that Coach and Jalen and Kelly recruit. It just, everyone loves Nebraska even before they've even played here.
Rebecca, why did you think you guys were meeting that day when you had to come?
We were told it has to do with revenue share, and we all thought we were going to get a bump. You know, it's the year of hope. Andy and I have this joke, it's the year of hope. Good things are happening. I'm a Catholic, Jubilee year, so I'm excited, man. Then an atom bomb, so yeah, sorry. I mean, it's pretty much public now, so. But yeah, we thought it was just going to be like a business type of meeting, most likely a breakdown of the schedule. Sometimes those type of changes happen, so it's easier to have everyone present. Wish apologized about lying. Yeah, so that's what the original meeting we thought was going to be.
Like when you walked back out to the parking lot after all that happened, like how are you feeling overall about the future?
To be honest, I was like taking a while to leave. We had that meeting for just the players, and a lot of encouraging words were said, but you know, I really wanted to win one with him. He's a legend. I've always respected like what he's done and what he's given to the state of Nebraska. It's always meant a lot to me that we go to small towns and we have in-person admission to these small towns. We're playing in local high schools. It's really easy to be from a small town and feel forgotten about. And the fact that we bring one of the most publicized college programs to these small towns so these little girls, kids, farmers can have a front row seat to a volleyball game, that meant a lot to me. I mean, he's not even from here, and he wears the boots, belts. He's full-on cowboy now. And so that meant a lot to me to come here and see that. And it sucks that I don't get to win one with him. But Andy, Harper, Bergen, every single one of them were like, you know, it's more than a trophy. You know, we have values. There's things that I tell my family, I tell myself when I'm praying, like dream big. You know, great ones adjust. So he's definitely left a print on my heart with that, and I'm grateful for that. But I took a minute. I kind of cleaned myself up after crying, and then I saw Kelly and Jalen, and I just kind of fell to pieces again. Kelly was cracking a joke. She's like, maybe now isn't the best time to drive. But it was okay. I cleaned myself up and made it home safe. And yeah, it was hard. Honestly, the walk felt forever to my car, and then I was in the car, and it's just hard. Change is hard. But again, I want to reaffirm that I truly believe we're in good hands.
Andy, this was already going to be a big year of transition, stepping away from the leadership that you guys got from Lexi and Merritt last season. How does this change underscore what's in store for all four of you, I guess, but I was thinking mostly of the three sophomores becoming juniors as far as stepping into leadership roles, because now you have this additional change to deal with?
Yeah, obviously it was already a big shift, losing 5 seniors and Lexi and Merritt as our captains, and they worked really, really hard to build and uphold our culture, and that's obviously something I've already touched on. It's something that we really, really focus on here at Nebraska. And us three in our class, even Lainey, like we knew coming in that we were going to have a bigger role on this team now, and we weren't going to be sophomores anymore. We are upperclassmen, and the freshmen are going to be looking to us to uphold that culture and hold those roles and be there for them. And so now with this big shift, I don't think it changes that. I just think that there's just a small addition to it, but we're still going to keep all the same things, and we're going to still work super hard to uphold what generations before us have built, and Lexi and Merritt worked so hard to upkeep. And yeah, just continue to do what Nebraska Volleyball does and represent ourselves in a way that we should represent the program and the women that came before us, and now how we should represent Dani.
Harper, last time Nebraska had a coaching change, they won a national title in the first year with their new coach. Have you looked back in history at all, trying to repeat history this year?
If Lindsay Krause was here, she would know that. She knows all those facts. But, like Becca touched on this, like obviously a lot of us wanted to win a national championship with Coach. But I think the way that we can reframe that in our head is now we can win one for him. And I think that's the best way to approach this year. And, we can win one for Coach. We can win one for Dani. We can win one for all the little girls that look up to us in Nebraska and around the country. So I think that's how we need to reframe it for this year. And, we talk about stories every year. Becca called me, like a week ago, and we were talking about our freshman year we lost in the national championship. Texas had an unbelievable year. This past year, Penn State's coach was going through hell, and they pulled out and they won a national championship for her, and they had a really strong why. And this year we have a coaching change, and now we have the opportunity to win a national championship with Dani and carry on Coach's legacy. So I think that's how we need to go and approach this season for sure.
Any final questions? All right, thank you all for coming today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.